Hello everybody, Ziona here, and today we're going to be going over the top 5 little tips and tricks to improve your gameplay here in Warcraft Rumble. In the background, I'm just going to be playing some regular PvP gameplay for your enjoyment while we go over this, and let's just jump right into it. I am an ex-top 100 Clash Royale player globally, and lane pushing strategy games are kind of my forte. And over the years of playing them, I've learned what you need to learn, what you need to do to become a better player over time. And push those high ranks, high trophies when the game, I'm sure it'll have a leaderboard here in the future. But even if you want to hit that 20k trophies, you're going to have to step up your game with some of these little tricks here. And we're going to start off with number 1, and that's simply just to find your playstyle. It sounds like not that big of a deal, but maybe you're an aggressive player. Maybe you like those decks that just all in and smash your opponent down with sheer force and take them by surprise. Maybe you like just throw all your cards like with reckless abandon. And maybe you're a defensive player. Maybe you like your opponent to make their play first, and respond accordingly. Or maybe you like to control the map with a control deck. And there's lots of different decks in the game and that suit people of certain playstyles. And some people just can't play defensively, and they'll never succeed with the defensive deck. So knowing your playstyle, what you enjoy playing, what you're good at doing, is important. If you want an aggressive deck, you can run, a Murloc Swarm deck like you see on the screen here. Maybe you want to play a defensive deck. You can do a Flying Blackrock deck, or just your standard Blackrock deck. You like control, maybe you play a Thalnos deck, or you can go Thalnos spell control, or you can play a there's lots of different decks. You can play whatever the hell charge guy, Baron Rivendare. Baron Rivendare is a great control deck. And there's decks to suit your playstyle. Not everybody is good at everything. So there's your first tip. Jumping into number 2 is to practice a single deck. It's another simple one, but the more you play one deck, the more you're going to understand how that singular deck, what it's weak against, what it's strong against. You master its win condition, and you learn what it's weak against. And you master one. In this game, you'll need to master 3, because it's your top 3 decks, trophies that calculate to your total ranking. But I mean, play a single deck, practice on that one deck until you truly master it, And as simple as that is, that's a very, very big one. Even playing Clash Royale for years, I only played 2 or 3 decks at high trophies. If I want to really, really push that ranking, I stick to what I'm good with. I play Lava Loon, I play Hog Cycle, stuff like that. I know a lot of my videos I talk about Clash Royale, but they are extremely similar games. And that's just tip number 2 there for you. And jumping into number 3 here. I know I'm rampaging, but it's understanding the base mechanics of the game. There are many, many mechanics to this game, but some are more important than others. And you want to absolutely master the fine finesses of games like this, because they are more complicated than just throwing your stuff down a lane and hoping you're stronger. There's a lot of strategy involved in these games, where to position your cards is a big one, or your minis, sorry. If you're going to play your tank and, in the front, or your caster in the back, right, the positioning is important. If you look at the screen here, we've got, the dragon in the back and the gargoyle in the front, because the front's going to soak that tank damage. But it's important to keep your cards separated from each other. You don't want them all piled on top of each other to have them just get murdered by a blizzard, right? Or something of the like. You want them nice and spaced out. You don't want them taking splash damage. So positioning your troops, knowing how to slow push, another big tip there. Playing your cards at the back. Defending with minimal gold cost, so you can build up a really slow push on those defensive decks. You have your cards crash under your tower, and then you can continue to push with another massive gold push. You're pushing like 10, 15 gold worth of troops down a lane, and there's nothing they can do. There's another trick you can do. You can speed up your slower units by pushing them with faster units. Like tower charge cards will often push bigger troops at a faster speed than that they would normally walk at, giving you a slight advantage. Maximizing the tower damage, for example, that you do to your enemies. Always defending under tower, never fighting open for no reason. What else is there? I mean, goodness, there's so many little tricks, but knowing what your cards do. You got your flying that counters ground units. You've got your armored units that are countered by elemental. Unbound that you can use to take out pesky range units. There's a billion different things I could say here, but understanding the base mechanics of the game, very important to slowly climbing in rank. Tip number 4 will be gold efficiency, and this is extremely important in terms of spell usage a lot of the times. When to use your spells defensively and aggressively. When it's worth to prioritize, blizzarding your opponent's troops. You want to have, if you're using a blizzard, for example, it costs 4 gold. You want to take positive gold trades. You want to throw your blizzard into 5 gold worth of enemies. Like I'm throwing a blizzard down there. You can see there was 3 troops, but it's more than 4. I killed them both, right? You want to be using your cards to always have a gold advantage to your opponent. It's extremely important. You want to prioritize shutting off the gold from your opponent and simply just starving them out, giving yourself more and more gold lead. Gold runs everything in this game. The more you have, the more you can do. The less you have, you're fucked. It's just how it goes. You want to count your enemies' cards, their minis that they're dropping. If you know the prices, and you should be memorizing this, over time especially, you'll come to know the costs of cards. You want to defend with less gold than they're spending, using your tower to your advantage. Always counting their gold, counting your own gold, knowing how far ahead you are, and playing off of that. And last tip here, number 5, understanding your opponent. In PvP in particular, extremely important. To read your opponent, what they're going to do, what they can do is unbelievably important. Are they an aggressive player? Are they pushing super, super hard? You got to know how to respond to that. If they're going to push hard, really hard, maybe it's better to put a 2-cost splash minion down that's just going to barely hold your tower and throw all your stuff in the other lane when they have no gold, right? Knowing how to handle a split pushing lane, a dual lane, knowing to just defend that one lane hard, take the little poke in your other lane, and just counter pushing one lane. Another big thing there. Memorizing your opponent's cards, very important. Knowing what they have, knowing what they're cycling to, knowing what they've got in their hand and what they can have, and knowing what cards they have that can deal with your cards. You have to determine your opponent's win condition. What can my opponent do to stop me from winning? And how can I deal with that? There's a lot of tips and tricks, a lot of things in this game you're going to slowly learn over time. But these are just a couple little early game to intermediate tips and pointers that you're going to need to know to really climb those ranks. So You know, I really appreciate you guys watching the video. I hope maybe you picked something up from this. Maybe something helped. And if not, I just hope you enjoyed watching me play the game. Thanks again for tuning in, you guys. Have a good one, you know, and just keep on rumbling.